Oh, versus Kanwar. Okay, that's good. So
Sorry,
I was not wrong that much.
So will it is match right?
I'm the
Kanwar, you are the first one.
Right.
First
And
you'll evaluate
can you tell us
Kanwar.
what's the speech title?
Okay, I have Facebook
Oh,
ready.
it's right here.
Okay.
Fears, do they even exist? Please welcome Kanwar for fears, do they even exist?
Thank you, Raymond. So the question I asked yesterday was, what if I could be the first speaker today? And here I am. The title of my speech is Fears, Do They Even Exist? Which will focus on project number 3, Get to the Point. The time is 5 to 7 minutes, as everyone knows. Great. Every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better and healthier and healthier. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, what I just said might not have made any sense to you at all. Well, let me get to the point. Fears, do they even exist? Do you constantly find yourself in a situation that you would term as fear? If so, what I just said at the very beginning might help. In other words, self-talk or pep talk. Recently, I watched the movie After Earth. And there was this beautiful idea in the movie that fear is a choice. The movie talks about how events on Earth forced humanity's escape to another planet. And there's no habitation left anymore on Earth. And there are these creatures called Ursa that kill humans. And the way they do it is by smelling fear. They can't see humans, but the moment they see you and you get scared, there's fear in you, they can sense where you are, and they come right after you. Basically, once you know how to suppress the fear, the Ursa cannot see you anymore. And that's a term they use in the movie called ghosting, to be able to avoid being seen by the ghost. Now, many of us think of fear as danger. Now, danger is real. For example, you're driving on the highway 401 on a weekday morning, and all of a sudden, the trailer in front of you loses the balance, and all of a sudden, you're in danger. Now, you didn't think about being in that situation before you were on the highway. It happened in a blink of a moment. Now, that with what happens at the very moment can be termed as danger, and you're in a dangerous situation. You have to look for your safety. Fear, on the other hand, are the mental monsters that we have created in our heads that sit all throughout our life, maybe as long as you want them to sit. There's no specified deadline for them to be sitting there. That sit there, and they influence your actions, your thoughts. And let me stress on this point, thoughts make all the human beings. Your thoughts influence you every day. Every day you have different thoughts. Every day you can be a different human being. Here's how I think of fears. They are the mental monsters sitting inside our heads. Whenever you find yourself in a situation you fear, you have two options. 1, complying with the fear. 2, confronting the fear. Now, what happens in either of these two choices? The first choice, complying with the fear. You're telling the fear, oh, you're right, I cannot do this. For example, say you're a guest in Toastmasters, and all of a sudden you're asked to give a speech on a topic, and you don't know anything about the theme before you enter the Toastmaster meeting. And all of a sudden there's this mental monster in your head, and it goes off like, oh, you can't speak, you don't know anything about this, you're never a better speaker. If you stand up and speak, you'd probably mess up the whole thing. And the words start to spit out of your mouth saying, oh, I don't think, I'm not comfortable speaking, I'm not comfortable saying anything. That's what happens if you comply with the fear. Now, what happens if you confront the fear? You're in turn telling the mental monster sitting in your head, the unwanted monster sitting in your head, that you don't want them there anymore. And the good thing about that is, the monsters, when you tell them something, they listen to you. And the way you tell them is through your actions. once you start doing the things you fear, the mental monster will get your point. They would know that, okay, there's no point of me sitting here and influencing him, to which he would not do anyway. And he would gradually start going out of your head, and it would never invade your privacy again. And obviously the monster would then go and occupy someone else's head. And the process continues. Through the course of the speech, I hope that I'm able to let that monster diminish from Earth. And no one should ever say that I fear something. Now, confronting sounds a bit intimidating, but that's where the fun begins. Whenever you feel complying to your fear, remember that change is hard in the beginning, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. By the end, you really see what you've become as a human being through the way of confronting the fear, not submitting in to the mental monster sitting in your head. Now, public speaking is one of the greatest fears of the majority of people. Most people fear it more than their death, and this is really incredible for me to believe, because death is something that would actually freak you out. And if you fear public speaking more than that, then it could not be worse. It could not go any worse. I fear public speaking too, most of the times when I'm here, as I am today. My legs would start to tremble. I would start to lose confidence. And if I look at any of the Toastmasters and if I see a look of confusion on your face, that would make it even more worse. But as there are two faces to a coin, there's another way to look at it. The feedback that I get from the fellow Toastmasters and my evaluator in particular not only affects my mental monster, but it also affects me as a personal individual. And it affects my personality, it affects my self-confidence, and it affects me, it actually encourages me to go out the next time and speak even though I'm not prepared, like this today. Please do not be the person who doesn't do what he fears. Get out of your comfort zone. In the Think Friday session last Friday, there was a beautiful line. It said, to remain the same, you must change. And this is very critical, not just from business point of view, but from an individual point of view. Working in a company that's changing dynamically day after day. There's a great poem by the great Indian poet Rabindranath Tagore that highlights the point that you should not wait for something magical to happen at the end when it would never happen. The poem goes like this: spring has passed, summer has gone, winter is here, and the song that I meant to sing remains unsung. For I have spent all my days stringing and unstringing my instrument. To conclude, I would urge all of you to think about this question and please reflect on it. What would you do today if you know it was your last day? What would you do differently? Thank you.
Thank you, Kanwar, for the great speech. So let's take 30 seconds to write the evaluation for Kanwar. And so while you're writing, I have some questions for Kanwar. So basically, the monsters will smell the fear, right? My question is this a good smell or bad smell? Likely bad smell, right? Because it's fear. So maybe based on this logic, if you have a dramatic, extreme fear, you will produce extreme bad smell. Maybe that can kill the monster. Is it possible?
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Okay, so we will move to the next speaker, who is Wei Li.